Ever since Outriders was initially revealed at E3 2019, we have been eager to learn more about the game, and thankfully Square Enix has been quite generous with their intel. While there has been loads of info surrounding the game as of late, some of you still have some excellent questions about the game's story, whether or not the game is in fact an RPG, as well as questions regarding the class system and how does it work, and what is so special about the game's combat. This preview is actually an attempt to answer all those questions, with details coming directly from Square Enix and the game's developer, People Can Fly, the talented studio that also brought us games such as Bulletstorm, Gears of War, Fortnite, and more. So what is Outriders? Outriders is a third-person RPG shooter set in a world where sci-fi meets savagery. The game can be played solo or with up to 2 other players, and whichever way you play the game, you'll be presented with a vast, brutal adventure filled with imaginative weapons, loot, and a flexible character development system. At the core of Outriders is an intriguing narrative set in an original world. At the beginning of Outriders, humanity is in a good place. Earth is ruined, and the remaining survivors have taken to the stars in huge sleeper ships to find a new home. The planet Enoch, where the game takes place, looks promising, but before the civilians can disembark, they need to make sure that it's all safe. And here's where you, the player, come in. You are an Outrider, an awe-inspiring operative with extensive training and combat skills to identify threats and clear the way for a wider landing. Fortunately, from the start, all seems fine on planet Enoch. The place is beautiful. The local wildlife is reassuringly passive. In fact, it seems like a paradise. That said, there are some odd readings that the Outriders want to investigate before an all clear is given. Unfortunately, before they can, the order to land is given anyway, and that's when everything goes to hell. The Anomaly, or a mysterious undefinable energy storm, descends on the settlers. Some it kills, some it changes, and it renders almost all of their technology useless. In the chaos, you, the player, are injured by the Anomaly. In an attempt to keep you alive, you and others are placed in cryostasis and frozen in suspended animation. More than 30 years later, they awake, or you, the player, awake, to a very different world. The once beautiful fields of Enoch have become blood-soaked trenches. The sky burns, and hanged bodies line the devastated fields. Stripped of their technology and resources, mankind has turned to savagery for survival. Interestingly, Enoch is not the only thing that has changed. You have also changed. Armed with a gun and mysterious new powers, you head out into a dark, savage world to discover what's happened to humanity as a whole. After the game's prologue, the Outriders campaign takes players through multiple areas, each with a central hub that positively overflows with quests, secrets, side quests, and more. But before you start digging deep into Enoch, you'll have to choose a class. There is essentially a starting point for your newly empowered character that defines the basic skills you'll have to play with throughout, very similar to titles such as Destiny and Anthem. Square Enix has said that there will eventually be 4 classes. However, 3 have been revealed thus far: the Pyromancer, the Trickster, and the Devastator. The Pyromancer uses fire and flames to devastate crowds of enemies and control the battlefield, while the Trickster is a fast, maneuverable class that uses speed and timed manipulation to cut down enemies. It's great for getting in behind foes quickly and delivering powerful precision attacks. While the Devastator is a powerful class that makes brute force feel elegant, from gravity manipulation to impenetrable armor. It's all about getting close to targets so you can deal maximum damage. Each class has strengths and weaknesses, and crucially, a different way of healing, all of which greatly defines how you play the game. The Pyromancer, for example, heals whenever he or she puts down something on fire, while the Devastator and Trickster benefit from close-up kills. This adds a lot of variety to how you play the game, something which only increases as you defeat enemies and build up your characters. Battles in Outriders are fast-paced and intense. Anyone with experience of third-person shooters should feel instantly comfortable with the basic controls. You have full freedom of movement around the battlefield. Can take cover behind walls and objects, pop out to take shots with your gun, and so on. However, while the controls might feel familiar, the gameplay in Outriders feels entirely unique. Even in the earlier stages of the game, enemies put up an intense fight. They'll crowd you, try to flank you, flush you out of cover with grenades. It's not enough to use brute force to try to push your way through a situation all the time. You'll have to constantly react and adapt to the flow of the fight. And then there are skills, which turn everything on its head. Every character has access to multiple abilities, all of which are visually spectacular and extremely useful. These skills are every bit as important as the guns and form the central pillar of your battle strategy. That describes the basic flow of play, but what's much harder to articulate is how good everything actually feels. Controls are precise and snappy, the weapons both look and sound powerful. Every single shot has a profound sense of impact. When you hit an enemy, you'll know it. What may be hard to swallow is that Outriders is as much an RPG as it is a shooter. You will level up, you will customize your skill sets, you will find loot to upgrade your weapons and your armor. You will talk to NPCs to learn more about the world and get quests. Everything that you would expect from the RPG genre is here, and thus far, it's done pretty well. The loot system seems particularly satisfying. As you kill enemies and open chests, you will earn new weapons and gear that make your character stronger and more resilient. Not only does it make encounters consistently rewarding, we found equipment to be extremely meaningful. When we got a better gun, for example, we really noticed the difference. Also, like the best RPGs, there's a strong narrative focus to everything you do. Whether you're progressing through the main quest or undertaking one of the many side activities, the game hits you with interesting stories and rich characters. So far, Outriders is shaping up to be a vast, satisfying adventure, whether you play with friends or on your own. We're definitely liking what we're seeing, and we look forward to more hands-on with the game. And there you have it.